checkered field began as 14 kids, including 4 visitors, 3 from Stars and Strikes in Cumming and 1 from Brunswick Zone Lilburn, descended on Roswell, Georgia to try to make it to the championship match today. In fact, we had 3 qualifiers from the Junior Varsity. So we split the field into 2 sections, and the show today will feature an undercard and the main event. Live on tape from Brunswick Zone Roswell in Roswell, Georgia. It's the Prodigy Bowlers Tour, a series of unofficial, informal, and impromptu after-league challenge matches to simulate the pressure of tournament competition in an open play environment. The mission of Prodigy Bowlers Tour is to celebrate junior bowling while we elevate junior bowlers. This is Season 1, Episode 16, Seoul Bowl. And if that doesn't provide enough of a clue, I'll tell you that our players are bowling today on the WTBA pattern known as Seoul. 39 feet with a slight buildup of oil in the middle in more or less a Christmas tree shape. About a 3-to-1 ratio, so the pattern isn't going to give players much help in steering the ball to the pocket. Our 14 players began the day in 4 separate groups spread across 2 pairs of lanes. The bowlers were competing in that first game against only the other players listed on the overhead score sheets on their lane. 3 players were listed on the odd-numbered lanes, and 4 players were listed on the even-numbered lanes, with all 3 of our junior varsity players grouped together on one of the odd-numbered lanes. At the end of that first game, the low man on each lane was eliminated from the field. That left us with 8 varsity players and 2 JVs. As the 8 varsity players were bowling a second game of qualifying, the 2 remaining JV players contested a championship match in their age division. Before we find out who among our varsity players would advance, let's meet our 2 finalists in the undercard match. Trishul, 10 years old, is facing Hunter, who's 9. Both players are making their second appearance on Prodigy. Trishul having been on our Thanksgiving turkey shootout back in November, and Hunter coming off a good showing on last week's Sudden Eliminator. And here we go with our first ever championship match between 2 junior varsity players. Our youth leagues at Brunswick Zone Roswell are divided into 2 divisions. I sometimes refer to them as the big league and the little league, but they're actually the varsity and junior varsity. And here's Hunter to get us started. And he puts the first ball right in the pocket, high flush, and gets a strike to begin. And now Trishul, a 2-hander. He puts that one right in the pocket, but it leaves a 10-pin, and Trishul appeared on our Thanksgiving show and bowled pretty well that day. He has a new bowling ball. This is a house ball he's throwing. And it hooks by, and he's open in the first frame. Trishul just recently got his first reactive resin ball. And it's a Cyclone, Ebonite Cyclone. And he's having a little hard time keeping it on the lane. It hooks so much. So he's gone to this house ball. And that one sails a little bit wide. He's used to bowling on a house shot, as most of our junior varsity kids are. They are all 12 and under. And you see, he can even get a house ball to hook.
So back-to-back opens to start the match for Trishul, not what he had in mind. And now Hunter, who made his first appearance last week on our sudden elimination challenge, and he lasted about 3 rounds. This one through the nose, leaves the 10 pin, breaks up the split. Now if you look over on the lanes to our left, lanes 23 and 24, you might be able to pick up some of the action of our varsity players who are holding their second game of qualifying, which will be added to their scores in the first game they bowled. Hunter goes cross lane at the 10 and converts it. Hunter just joined our league about a month ago, maybe 5 weeks ago or so. His very first day bowling with us, he qualified for the Pepsi tournament. He had been going to karate lessons on Saturdays, but family managed to get that to move to another day, and so now he can bowl. And Hunter is eat up with bowling. He could bowl morning, noon, and night if given a choice. He leaves the 1-2-7-9 here. A difficult spare with any weight ball. He throws a 10-pound plastic ball. Looks pretty good. Doesn't quite get the 7, so Hunter has his first open frame of the match. And now Trishul up on the right. That ball doesn't quite get back. He leaves a fairly simple 1-2 spare. Trishul and his little brother Rudra, or Rudy as we call him. This is their first year bowling Junior League. And I think Trishul is a little confused. He's used to seeing that ball go out there to the right, and bowling on a house shot, it comes right back. So maybe he's decided to try his reactive ball. Maybe it'll come back. I guarantee you it'll come back. Oh, you got to get it out to the right, though. And that one hooks off the lane, so Trishul still having a little difficulty. I think that reactive ball is going to be just right for him once he figures out how to stay behind the ball a little bit more and generate just a little more speed. You can see how he comes up the side of it. Well, that went right through the hole, and he leaves a solid 7. Unfortunately, that was his second ball in the frame, so there's 4 opens to start the match. Hunter wiping down his plastic ball. Now he won't hook it much at all. And he could have stood to see that ball hook a little that time, as it misses the head pin and leaves the washout, the 1-2-10. The good news about the washout when you're throwing a light ball like this is sometimes you can actually play it on either side of the head pin. Although I suspect that maybe Hunter's 10-pounder may be just a little too much for that. Well, it doesn't matter. He went between them, and there's an open for Hunter. He's got a pretty big lead, though, 19 pins. Hunter carries a league average of 127. Pretty good for a 10-year-old who's just started bowling league. In the pocket again. And that's what happens with a light ball. That ball actually deflected around the 10 pin. And he leaves that corner pin. He made it in the second frame. Can he make another 10 pin here? I think he can. How about this guy? Well, that's another spare, and Trischel's going to have to start covering some spares himself. Oh dear, that one gets out wide, and I think he's a little confused right now. He's used to bowling on a house shot. They're bowling on the Seoul pattern today, and you just don't get the same kind of help on a sport pattern that you do on the house shot. Even with a plastic ball, the way he throws it, he can hook it back. So he doesn't give this one as much room, and it still hooks. And he has a disastrous 1-pin 5th frame. But that's okay. There's that cyclone again, and look at that thing turn left. Look at that thing turn left. A little more speed, a little more velocity on the ball, and he'd be able to hold the line. He will get there. There, that has a chance. Oh, it just chops the 3. Well, Trischel still looking for his first mark in the game. And Hunter has a pretty big lead at this point. Brooklyn doesn't quite trip out the 6-10. And he'll have another cross lane spare. Well, he's handled the 10 pin a couple of times. Let's see if he can handle the 6-10. He knows to move left. Goes right at it, and that one is going to slide off into the gutter. So an open for Hunter. And his lead shrinks to 38 pins. I've been wanting for a while for us to do a Prodigy telecast with just our little kids. We've got some pretty good little bowlers. These two are a couple of the most enthusiastic kids we've got in the JV. Oh, right through the nose. And Hunter leaves the big 4, or as we used to call it, the double pinochle. In all my years, I've only seen this made a couple of times. I made it once, a lifetime ago, and of course Walter Ray Williams made it on TV once. I have a standing offer with the kids. Double pinochle, 7-10, you make it, you win my car. Of course, I don't tell them which car it is. It might be Hot Wheels I have stashed away in a dresser drawer. All right, Trischel, keep that thing on the lane. Look at that thing. It turns on its blinker and makes a sharp left turn. Well, he's putting a lot more energy into giving it a turn than he is getting it down the lane. So we'll work with him on that. Maybe 9. Okay.
Listen, when the lanes are really hooking like that, you may have to go to a weaker ball like this.
So he goes back to the cyclone. He can come up the back of it. All right, this is a different kind of throw. This one may work. Stuffed right in the pocket. Well, that's more like what we're used to seeing from Trishul. He's a pretty good little bowler for his age and experience level. He's going to be good when he gets a little bigger, a little more experience. Seven went out late. He's got another 10 pin. He's handled that a couple of times already. We have some very generous souls at Brunswick Zone Roswell who occasionally will donate a bowling ball to the junior program. And on this day, Hunter received his first reactive resin ball. He's not throwing it here yet. But he has received it, and probably the next time we see him bowl on the show, you'll see him with one of a couple of reactives that he got. Well, he's 2 for 3 on 10 pins today. That's better than my usual success rate. Brooklyn. Look at that ball deflect all the way around the 7 pin. All right, let's project forward. Trishul, if he were to strike out, could still shoot 139. Hunter going at a 115, I'm sorry, a 135 pace. He converts the 7 pin right there. Now, Trishul, if he just goes spare strike the rest of the way, could still shoot 109, and that would force Hunter to get a few pins in the 10th anyway. But he's got to make this, and he does. There's a little different release. That, oh, it stays on the lane a little longer, but that 5 count is going to short him now. The best he can do is 104. Hunter already has 105 if he throws the next 2 balls in the gutter. So Hunter's going to win this match. Trishul finishes with a 9 count for a 93. Not the game he'd hoped for, I know, but maybe just a little under his average. Meanwhile, Hunter finishing this thing off. Oh, there's a big pull to the left. And he takes off just 1 pin, working on a spare. So that's a little costly. That gives him 106 through 9. See what he can do the rest of the way here. And he finishes with 9. He's excited. He knows he won. And he gets to sign the coveted trophy pin.
That's 2 weeks in a row you've won.
I know.
That's crazy. You're on a winning streak now.
Yep. This is my 2nd day I've won. And
Well, you know what this means?
yes, I do. Lol.
You get to sign the coveted trophy pin. Put your name on it. And put today's date.
This is so happy.
Today's the 25th.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
An important spare here for the reigning champ. And this tournament is up for grabs. A little chill time for Sean Rash before he throws. And he nails it. The fans sure do eat him up.
50 years and still rolling strong. Watch the Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour Sunday at 1 p.m. on ESPN.
So, once again, congratulations to Hunter, who is, for now anyway, the only junior varsity player to put his name on the coveted trophy pin twice. Remember, at the end of the season, the player who has won most often and has therefore signed his or her name to the trophy pin the most times will be presented with the pin as a permanent keepsake in commemoration of his or her well-earned claim to bragging rights in perpetuity for the 2016-17 bowling season. As of right now, Logan F. is leading the way with 7 wins, but Charlie has begun to close the gap and now has 4 victories. No one else has more than 2 wins this season. So with that, let's meet our 4 finalists who advanced to the championship round in our varsity division. Bowling in the number 4 position is Charlie. In his last appearance on Prodigy 2 weeks ago, Charlie shot .755 on the house shot to run the stepladder and capture his 4th win. He'll face one of the 2 visitors from Stars and Strikes Incoming who made the stepladder today, Jesse G. This is Jesse's 2nd appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. He edged Charlie for the 3rd position by a single pin in qualifying. The winner of that match will advance to bowl our number 2 seeded player, Brandon. Little B was one of 3 winners on our Bowlapalooza show back in October, but is still looking for his first solo win. And the winner of that match will advance to face our faux tournament leader, Logan M., another of our visitors from Stars and Strikes, for the title this week. Logan dominated our field, finishing 40 pins ahead of Brandon in the 2-game qualifier. And that's our field today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour.
And so, we begin match 1. Our 4th seed, Charlie, taking on our number 3 seed, Jesse G. from Stars and Strikes. Charlie will lead us off. Charlie's throwing his lock today. And by the looks of things, he's locked in with that ball. Jesse edged Charlie by just a stick in qualifying to grab the number 3 position. Either way, they'd have to run the ladder and win 3 games to win it all. And I believe Jesse is also throwing a lock, if I'm not mistaken. That one goes through the nose, and he leaves the 3, 6, 10 to begin the match. Jesse's dad came along with him, playing down the center of the lane. I don't like this. I'd much rather go cross lane at this. But he converts it just the same. And this match is all even. Honestly, I'm not sure how often the kids out at Stars and Strikes get to bowl on a sport pattern up there. I'm not all that familiar with how they run their junior league. That ball comes up a little light, and he leaves the bucket. 2, 4, 5, 8. A most choppable spare. Couple of different schools of thought on how to convert this. Some say play it down the left side. Looks like Jesse's going to go down the right side, play up the track area, and that's got to get up. And he's open in the second frame, picking the 2-5 off the 4-8, and Charlie takes an early lead. That's wide. That ball was well right of his target. And he leaves the 1-2. And he goes to grab his chamois. Great little invention to get the oil off the ball. And he converts it. Charlie with a bit of a winning streak going. He ran the stepladder, winning all 3 games 2 weeks ago on his last appearance on Prodigy, firing a 755 on the house shot. He still had 800 in the wood until the bottom of the 7th frame of the 3rd game. Oh, look at that one. Comes up light and he rolls the 2-pin. In fact, that's more of a trip 2. Watch this. Comes up light, the head pin goes to the wall, knocks the 4-pin into the back of the 2. It's a little different flavor of a trip 2. All right, Jesse. Oh, swishing 7. Blows that 5-pin over, but it doesn't quite take out the 7. So he will have to settle for a spare here in the 3rd. Going cross lane at it. And covers it. Good shot. Jesse with a little bit more muscle in his swing than I would like to see. I think his dad has made the same comment about it. Looks like there's a little too much control in his swing as he pushes it away rather than just letting it drop and letting gravity get it into the swing. One comes up a little thin. He breaks up the bucket this time and leaves a much easier spare, the 5-8. I'd like to see him push the ball away a little more out toward his right knee instead of pushing it out way to the right, because that causes the ball to wrap behind his back. And then he tends to reroute it coming down. But he's been doing it long enough that he's pretty good at it. Covers the spare in the 4th frame, and Charlie steps up, working on a strike with a chance to extend his lead right here. And that's wide again. That's 2 times in a row on the right lane that Charlie has whiffed the head pin on the first ball. That's not like him. Got a sleeper back there, the 1-2-8. Got to be careful with this. And he covers it easily. 18-pin advantage so far, due mostly to that open for Jesse in the 2nd frame. That's wide again. And this one leaves the washout. The 1, 2, 8, 10. Goodness. It's 3 out of 5 frames that Charlie has missed the head pin on his first ball. I'm not used to seeing this out of him. And that ball hooks by the head pin, and he has 7 out. And all of a sudden, Jesse's right back in this, just down 1 pin. Charlie giving up a bunch of count that frame. I'll tell you whose game Jesse's reminds me of a little bit. It's Nelson Burton Jr., who had a similar, very controlled push away that he would then wrap behind his back a little bit. He rode that game to a PBA Hall of Fame career. Pretty good ball there. Week 10. I think one of the things his dad mentioned to me is that Jesse tends to squeeze the ball a little bit, and you can tell by the way it comes off his hand that he's not letting it go freely. It's not flying off his thumb as quickly as it could. That would increase his rev rate substantially. The pins know when you're squeezing it. Oh, and that one sails by. And now that hands a bigger lead to Charlie. But both players having their trouble this game. Charlie changes balls. At least that one got up to the head pin. But he leaves the 2. All right, he's going to go back to his lock to shoot the spare. And covers it. Now you wonder what he's thinking, if it's an equipment issue or if he's gonna, looks like he's gonna stay with the lock. Maybe adjust his line a little bit. He doesn't get that one as wide, and that one was a freight train taking the pins down. That's a solid ball right there. Ringing 10. There's a lot good about Jesse's game that I like. He gets his right side out of the way of the swing very quickly. He has to, for that swing to wrap so far behind his back. He gets his right hip and right leg out of the way. Just barely touches the 10 pin. That's okay. You don't have to hurt him. All you got to do is touch him to get him to go down. This game is still close. Little better shot there. Oh, it just drifts a little high at the end. Maybe lost a little speed. That's one of the problems when you muscle the ball, is you don't get that free release and that free swing that generates so much more effortless velocity When you muscle it and you squeeze it, you will sometimes tend to take a little too much speed off, and that's what happens. The ball will jump at the end, and that one almost left a split, but he's got a simple 4-7 spare, and he covers it. But now Charlie with the hammer in his hand. Well, actually not a hammer, but a storm lock. I stand corrected. He can put the hammer down, though, right here with a strike. And he doesn't get that one quite as wide. And it comes up high, and he breaks up a split, leaves a 10-pin. He's still searching. He is still searching. Now, Charlie bowled both of his qualifying games on 23 and 24. So this is the first game he's bowled on 25 and 26. So I guess it should come as no surprise that he's having to do a little searching. Jesse, however, did bowl his qualifying, or at least his first qualifying game, on this pair, so he should know what it's going to do. That's wide again. And the 1-2-4-10. Losing the count, that reduces his lead to 10. Now, if he were to make this and both players were to strike out, they would end up tied. But he fails to convert, and with that, Jesse G takes the lead sitting on the bench. So now a golden opportunity for Jesse G. Can he take advantage? Oh, he threw that one good. Gets the 10 to go. And now projecting forward. Charlie with a possible 178. Jesse will have to double to shut him out. But if he gets the first strike in the 10th and a 9 spare, Charlie would have to strike out to tie. Oh, that one comes up just a little high. That was a pretty good shot. Solid 4. It's okay. If he makes this and strikes, he'll force Charlie to double. Okay, there's the spare. Well, we have a possibility of a tie here. If Jesse were to get 9 on his fill ball, Charlie could throw strike spare or spare strike, and we would have a tie. A strike would force Charlie to double. Oh, and that one sails wide. Oh my goodness, a 7 count. So now, all Charlie needs to do is fill 19. Oh! What kind of a messenger was that? Let's take another look at that one. Watch the head pin. The head pin goes to the wall. Oh, and it turns upside down and rolls across the back of the deck and gets the 10. How about that? Well, he needs 9 in 2 balls to win. or a strike. That'll do it. Boy, I tell you what, he wasn't close to throwing a strike all game on the right lane. But he managed to figure it out just in time. Tries a different ball. That was just a test shot there to see if maybe a different piece of equipment would be the thing to go with. But Charlie will advance to our second match. He will face Brandon when we return.
Mary Lou knows just what she likes to do. She likes to bowl. Mary Lou likes bowling.
You know, to be good at anything, you really have to be healthy. So take good care of yourself. And whatever you do, don't start smoking.
She likes to spare, she likes to strike. There's just one thing she doesn't like. That's smoking. She doesn't like smoking.
Brought to you by the American Heart Association.
So after a disastrous open in the 9th frame that opened the door for Jesse G, Charlie rallied in the 10th to eke out a close win, 177 to 166. While on the one hand, I know he's hoping for a somewhat more stress-free finish to the next game, there's nothing in bowling that makes a player feel better than to perform in the 10th when all the chips are on the table. But now he draws Brandon, or Little B as he's called around here, the only player other than our tournament leader to post a 2-game score over 400 in our qualifying round. Little B seems poised to keep the momentum going against a red-hot Charlie, who is now officially on a winning streak. Charlie has now won 5 matches in a row on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, having run the stepladder on his last appearance 2 weeks ago and winning from the number 1 position a week earlier. Charlie hasn't tasted defeat on Prodigy this month, so he's loving February. Brandon's gonna need to bring his A game to knock off Charlie. Well, we'll see who brings their A game. Brandon, the higher finisher in qualifying, with the option of starting lanes, and he says, Charlie, you may lead us off. Well, that's about as good as you can throw it right there. I think Charlie is through with the exploratory balls. He knows exactly where he's got to go with it now. And now Brandon, who bowled great in our 2 games of qualifying, averaging over 200. Pulled that one right through the nose and leaves a most difficult split, the 3-9-10. That 9 pin makes this one substantially more difficult than if it was just the 3-10 baby split. Oh, he pulls that one way left. And he threw his plastic ball. I don't think I would throw plastic at that spare.
Get that out of your way.
Well, that is 7 out to begin. That's not what he had in mind, I know. Brandon with kind of the opposite sort of footwork to what we saw with Jesse. Jesse, who crosses over with his first step with his right foot. Brandon just the opposite, steps a little bit to his right, as you see, with his first step. And we'd really like to see him work on that. Get that right side out of the way so the ball has a place to drop into the swing. I think that's what causes him to get his hand on the outside of the ball early in the swing, because he's having to pull the ball around his right leg instead of just dropping it into the swing path. All right, he covers the 1-2-8. So
He's gonna shoot another 279 on me.
he's on the board. Oh, he got that one to come back. Those are two really powerful strikes out of Charlie, and he's off to a big lead early against Brandon. That one's a little wide, and it doesn't quite get back. That's been the mistake he's been making. A little wide with some of his shots. He leaves the 258. Going cross lane at it. That increases the risk of chopping, but he covers it easily. And so Brandon up on the right lane now, looking to settle down a little bit. He looks a little tentative to me. There's another pulled shot. It just goes Brooklyn and breaks up the split. So he's got a routine spare now. But one of his tendencies when he gets a little nervous or trying to press is he'll pull up on the shot. Actually, it all begins when he pulls the swing down. And he did it again right there. And you can tell by his body language that he is not. He is just not carrying himself like someone who is going to produce their best performance. I tell you, one of the things that makes Charlie such a great bowler for his age is how he waits for the ball at the top. Brandon, when he gets nervous and presses, you can tell he pulls the ball down from the top instead of letting gravity initiate the downswing. There should be an instant at the top of the swing that the ball feels almost weightless. There's a little hesitation as the ball changes direction from going back to coming through. And that is so noticeable on Charlie's game. A good effort on the washout by Brandon, but that is his third open frame in his first 4 at-bats, and that is not going to get it done. Charlie out to a big lead early. 44 pins. And now with a strike up, he has a chance to extend it. Watch how Charlie gets the ball into the swing. He just lets it drop into the swing, and it's like you can tell when it pauses at the top, and he waits for the ball. That's how you get the most leverage, the most effortlessly. It's a contrast in styles here. One player with 4 out of 5 strikes, the other player with 3 out of 4 opens. Come on, Brandon, show us what you got. It's a better shot. He doesn't get the 2 to go like we saw Charlie do earlier, but that's a better shot than what we've seen thus far. So maybe he's going to settle in.
Give me something.
All right. There's another mark. Well, 54 pin advantage for Charlie halfway through the game. I know I wouldn't want to be 54 pins behind Charlie with just 5 frames left. I wouldn't like my chances. But you never know. There's a better shot. Ooh, right in the pocket. Stone 7. It's all right. Well, it's almost like once the game got out of hand, Brandon just relaxed. It's like he was pressing, like he knew he had to bring his A+ game to beat Charlie. Well, you just got to play your own game. You can't worry about your opponent. Look out. Oh, well, when it rains, it pours. We've all been there. I feel for you, Brandon. And now Charlie with a chance to extend the lead. Wow. Good thing we weren't standing down there. We might have got sucked in by the backdraft. Charlie has opened up a 76 pin lead through 6 frames. Wow. You don't see that very often. So relaxed. That one he missed his target a little left, and it just came up a pinch high. Leaves the 4. Charlie goes to his urethane ball to shoot the 4 pin. All right, Brandon. Well, this game is probably out of reach now, but let's see you finish strong anyway. It's a better shot. Okay. Well, I think when he watches the tape of this, he'll see that in the first few frames he was pulling up and out of it at the line, and he was pulling his arm swing down from the top instead of just letting it drop. See, he's in much better time there. And as a result, he throws a perfect strike, like we know he's capable of doing. Can't help but wonder if some of this is just a little intimidation factor with Charlie. I think most of these kids know that Charlie's not going to give them a lot of room to miss. That's as good as it can be done right there. Well, apparently that first game where Charlie shot in the 170s was just the warm-up act. He's now figured out this pair. 6 out of 8 strikes so far. And a solid 9. And with that, he is out of reach of Brandon. The best Brandon can do is 191. With that 9 count, Charlie has at least 185 in the 8th and 194 in the 9th, even if he throws the rest of his shots in the moat. Goes with his urethane at the 9, covers it. And when you're in this circumstance and you're Charlie, you just want to stay in stroke. Keep your timing, keep your line. Maybe use a ball to try a different ball. Here's another good shot by Brandon, right in the pocket. So you see what happens is once you relax, once the stress is gone, the game is out of reach, you just settle in and throw the shots you're capable of. We knew he could do it. The pins know when you're squeezing it. Yeah, he just lofted that one out on the lane a little too far, and ball sails, leaves the 1-2-4. I know this is disappointing for him, but it's always a learning experience. Get up. Okay. Spare in the 10th. He will finish in the 160s. And on a sport condition, it's respectable. It's just not enough. There's a good one. There's a great shot to finish on. 168. Not what he wanted. All right, Charlie is going to break out a different ball and throw a test shot here. Well, that looked pretty good. Well, that's what you do when you have a huge lead, is you just try a couple different things. Okay, he's going to try something else yet again. Well, you know, I got to tell you, the way he's throwing it, I think he could throw his shoe down there and strike. All right, we've seen him throw a couple of solid balls. He's going to throw his code black at this one. That's wide. That was never going to get back. 7 count to finish. And Charlie with a big win. He will move on to the title match and face big Logan M.
Laundry's done. Let's go for coffee. Oh, we always do that. Hey, let's go bowling. Why don't we do something different today? As long as it's not fattening. Hey, let's go bowling.
Joyce, now that you're single, you've got to get out and meet people.
Got any ideas?
Hey, let's go bowling. All over America, people are saying,
hey, let's go bowling.
Call your nearest BPA bowling center for open playtime.
Match 2 is now in the books, and Charlie keeps his winning streak alive as he puts a solid 233 on the board, which proves more than enough to advance to our championship match. That extends Charlie's winning streak to 6 straight games on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. And just in case he needed anything else to bolster his confidence, take a look at what happened to him yesterday at Stars and Strikes in Dallas, Georgia, when he got up in the 10th frame working on the front 9 strikes in a row. He sends a message with the 10th ball. Catches a wall shot on the 11th. And gets the 10 to go late for the 12th, capping his second 300 game in a little over a month. It's not hard to imagine why some of these junior bowlers may feel a little intimidated bowling Charlie.
But now we head into the championship match. And here is one player who I can promise you is afraid of no one. Logan M. dominated the field in qualifying and has bowled great every time he's been on Prodigy. But he's still looking for his first championship. This should be one great match. These two kids can really bowl. Logan M. starting us out. Comes in light and scatters them like dust. And there is a strike to start. Boy, kid can really throw it. Well, so can this kid. We'll see. Goes back to the lock and throws another strike. These two could really light it up this game. So relaxed, so fluid, and look at that can opener. Charlie with first blood in the match, a double to take a 10-pin lead. No, man. Ha! Oh, that's what you call striking like you mean it. That was a big time strike right there. They just exploded. That one didn't quite make it back. Sent it just a touch wide. 2-4-5. Logan will go with a ball that doesn't hook so much, and he'll go straight at it. It's like he wants to send those pins out into the parking lot. All right. Charlie with a 3-pin lead and a chance to extend to 13. Haha. That's how you rip the rack right there. That was big time. I'll tell you, these two kids are just brimming with confidence. I would be too if I had this much game. Hold it a little. Yep. Just missed left. So there's a 7 count. And now this is a 10-pin match. Charlie's got so many bowling balls, you wonder which one he's going to choose. I would assume he's going to go with his urethane. Yeah, that looks like what he's chosen. He goes straight at it, and he covers the 3-6-10. And now we have an even match, and Logan M., if he can get up and throw a double right here, we'll be all tied up. Oh, he gave that a little extra, just grabbed it at the bottom. What caused that to go high. Just Didn't let it go like he had let the others go. But a simple spare. He goes for another ball to shoot it. I think this is a plastic ball that he's gone to get. Just barely touches the 6 to get it to go. Well, we hadn't seen Logan M. and his buddy Andrew from Stars and Strikes in a few weeks, and I was joking with him earlier. I had told our kids that I think we scared them off, that they were afraid to bowl our kids. And Logan looked at me like, you're kidding, right? Throw a ball like that, you're not scared of anybody. Nor should he be. I was, of course, just kidding anyway. All right. Charlie with an 11-pin lead. And just gets the 10 to go. Just got that 6-pin up and out of the gutter enough to nudge it out. And now with a strike working, he can extend the lead to 21 if he can catch a double right here. Hold it. Oh, he gets the crossover. Well, that'll sit real well with Logan M., I'm sure. He said facetiously. But Logan M. can cut it right back down to 11 with a strike here. Oh, he gets the tossed salad strike. There are light shakers and there are light shakers. That's about as light a shaker as you're gonna shake, baby. I love them when they go, though. All right, well, if he can get a turkey here, he can make this a 1-pin match. Getting late in the game now. Oh my goodness gracious. It is almost inconceivable to me how a player with that much hand could ever leave a weak 10. But you've still got to have the entry angle. Gotta make it. Now, this is no time for missing spares. He covers the 10. And now Charlie with a chance to just about put this match away if he can get up and throw 2 strikes here. But no, he goes through the nose. Lucky that wasn't a split. He had the 4-10 for just an instant. But he's left with a simple spare now. But he can't seem to shake Logan M. All right. 11 pins separating these two with 3 frames left. Who will step up at the end? Right in the pocket and a solid 10. Good ball. But now we're in a position where if Charlie makes this spare and both players strike out from here, this match would end in a tie. All right, he's been good on his spares today. He's left some difficult ones, the washouts. He wasn't able to convert, but he's been real good on all his other spares today. Ooh, that one just doesn't quite make it back. And now he's left with the 2-8 double wood. Oh, he takes the long way around and the ball does not get back. And that could be a costly open. Well, Logan M with a possible 222. Charlie is going at a 225 pace. Big time strike for Logan right there. But now Charlie has a chance to get up and shut him out. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, you would think he would have made a little adjustment after he nearly left the 410 the last time up on the right lane. But look at this. He goes through the nose again. Now the 410 is really peeking at him, and what tripped those out at the last minute? And Logan M just pounded his hand against the counter. He knows what that ball meant right there. Well, a conversion here and 8 would wrap it up. Logan with a possible 222. Charlie with a spare here would have 205 in the 9th and a 225 if he fills it up. So he needs 8 pins right here, and this is over. Now this is about what we expected with these two. Plenty of fireworks, lots of strikes. Charlie pulls that one. Gets 9, and that's a winner right there. And with that ball, Charlie has locked up bragging rights for this week. And Logan M lets loose with all his energy just out of frustration, gets the Brooklyn. And I know he's probably thinking about that lucky trip 410 that Charlie caught in the 9th frame, but this match got away from Logan when he missed the 2-8 in the 8th frame. You can't control what your opponent does, but you can control what you do. That is a 209 for Logan M, but it's Charlie who will be signing the coveted trophy pin for a 5th time when we return.
You are a about to see 3 strikes made the hard way with a different kind of bowling ball, the AMF Impact KE21. So much pain-punishing power. It's almost unfair.
So, Charlie extends his winning streak to 7 games in a row on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, and in the process, claims his 3rd straight title in his last 3 starts. I guess that new arsenal is working out for Charlie, huh? We join him as he signs the coveted trophy pin for a 5th time, drawing to within 2 wins of Logan F. Turns out this may be a battle to the end of the season after all.
That one was grueling.
Yeah, I got lucky on that last shot.
A little?
Yeah. I mean, when I saw the 410, I was like, oh, okay, and then they tripped, and I was like, happened. So.
What are you gonna do? You're not gonna give it back.
No, I'll take this. Just gotta learn how to make my adjustments when I need to. I waited too long to make my adjustments, but I got a little lucky. Just paid off.
You bowled good enough, and I'd say 224 on Seoul. You're the Seoul Bowl champion today.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations to Charlie and to Hunter. Both are now on a winning streak. Oh, and one last thing. As we were bowling that final match, unbeknownst to any of us, a fire was raging just outside the bowling center in the underbrush between the Brunswick Zone Roswell parking lot and some adjacent businesses. At one point, the flames were burning within just a few feet of some of the cars that were parked outside. But in the end, the Roswell Fire Department came to the rescue and put out the fire. No one was hurt, and so far as we know, no one's cars were damaged. Turns out on this day, Charlie wasn't the only one on fire.